Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and welcome to episode 5. I am so excited to talk to you today because I have 2 finished objects, one of which I am wearing, and we'll also talk about my works in progress and some of my future plans, and I do have some acquisitions to talk about as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about what I'm wearing. My Weekender by Andrea Mowry. Let me just say, already, this is like one of my favorite sweaters I have ever made. But let's get into the details. So I knit the size 3 and I knit the ribbing in 4mm and the body in 4.5mm needles. And I knit this in Barocco Remix in the color Juniper. I'm gonna rave again about this yarn. As you may know, especially from my last podcast, I am obsessed with Barocco Remix because it doesn't have any wool in it. It's pretty much a combination of every other fiber you can imagine. I can wear this next to skin, which is amazing. I can't say that about a lot of things, so I'm very excited. And I think the fit is great. It's like literally perfect to a T. The length is great, and I'll talk about some of the mods I made. So it calls for a tubular cast on, and to be honest, I can't be bothered to do that. So I just did a long tail cast on, and I think it looks fine. I also decided to go up one size for the sleeve depth. So I knit the size 4 because I was worried that the sleeves would be too tight. I know the pattern is made to have slightly tighter sleeves, but I don't really like that. So I decided to go up a size, and I was almost thinking I could have gone up 2 sizes, like to the size 5, but I think size 4 is perfect. Like I have just enough depth. I only have like maybe 2 inches of positive ease in the sleeve, and it's perfect. Like it's just roomy enough. I think maybe going up to a 5 would almost make it look disproportional. So I think going to a size 4 was perfect. And also considering a looser sleeve, I didn't do the recommended amount of decreases for the sleeve. So I ended up doing 7 decreases every 15 rows. I have the perfect amount of room in the cuff because of that, and I think it still looks very proportional to the sweater. So also you do some short rows at the very top on both the front and back panel, and it calls for a wrap and turn, but as always I did German short rows because I just like how that looks better, and I think the double stitches fill in the holes really well when you're turning, and you honestly can't even see it at all. I mean, this yarn has so much texture to it that it kind of hides that anyways. This was really fun to make. It's a bottom-up construction, which most people don't like, but honestly, I am kind of a fan because, like I mentioned before, I don't love binding off the body when working a top-down construction, so it's so nice not having to worry about that. I think like once you know your measurements and like your preferred fit for a sweater, that like bottom-up is pretty easy. So I decided to knit the body 10 inches from where I split for sleeves, measured to the back ribbing, because it's slightly longer in the back because of the split hem, and it's a perfect crop length on me. This was also my first time doing a 3 needle bind off, which creates like a nice shoulder seam. I really like that detail on the shoulders. I feel like that looks really nice, and I just love the ribbing detail. I was also a little worried about having this like kind of boat neck situation, and it's actually not a problem at all. Like I was worried that this would sit a little bit like too high on my neck, but it looks great. Yeah, I just like that it's a little bit different, and I love it so much that spoiler alert, I cast on another one. But we'll get into that in just a minute. Okay, so let's talk about my next finished object, which is also very exciting. My Lana vest by Irene Lynn. She is gorgeous. The color looks so fantastic in this vest. Like, let me show you the back too. Can you spot my Easter egg? Yeah, I messed up one of the braided cables, but like I said, I decided to keep it. I think it adds some nice character. Yeah, it's just a nice homage to making mistakes on my first cable knit project. So yeah, I'm super proud of this. Let's get into the deets. So I decided to knit the size 1. I knit the body on 5mm needles, and I knit the ribbing on 4mm. Now, after trying this on, I realized I probably should have done a 4.5 on especially the armhole ribbing because it is just a little bit tight, and it's not really tight. It actually fits fine, but in all of the project photos, the depth of the armhole is a little bit bigger than what mine is, but I honestly think it's fine. And it also kind of helps the v-neck to not sit so low, which I also like. Let's talk about the mods I did. I did omit 1 repeat on the body because I wanted it to be slightly more cropped, and I think that looks perfect. I also, on the body bind off, I decided instead of binding off in pattern, I just did a full knit bind off because I kind of wanted to match the lateral braid. I thought that was a kind of a nice detail. The pattern wants you to bind off in pattern, and I did do that for the neck hole and for the arm armholes, which also looks really nice. To be honest with you, I was pretty scared of doing a lateral braid because I had never done one before, and she has a tutorial that's linked in the pattern and it was super easy to follow. It really wasn't that hard at all, and I just think it's a really nice detail. Like, this pattern is full of really nice details, and I will say when I chose this pattern to begin with, I didn't even realize that there was a cable just under the armhole on the side of the body. It separates into the ribbing. I mean, it's just beautiful. Also, with this project, I was really concerned with having two different dye lots, but to be honest with you, I don't think it's a problem at all. I did notice, like, in the skein, the new dye lot looked a little less saturated, and I was worried, so I alternated every other row for like 10 or 20 rows and then used the new dye lot after that. And to be honest, I'm not really sure that that was necessary, but I just wanted to be safe, and I really don't think you can tell at all, so that's great. Given that this is my first cabled project, obviously I'm going to make mistakes. So I originally made a mistake on one of the 4-stitch cables right on the front shoulder, and I was lucky enough to notice it before getting too far down. So I looked up a video and I followed a tutorial on how to ladder back and fix it, and very proud of myself. I figured it out. Looks great. But then not long after that, on the back, my little Easter egg, I messed up the braided cable. I mean, you can tell. It sits like almost right at the bottom of the armhole on the back shoulder. I did a poll on Instagram just to get an idea of like, is this super obvious and should I fix it or should I leave it? Pretty much every single person voted to leave it, so she stayed. And I think it's kind of sweet. Like, it adds some character, and it's just kind of like a good little reminder of this is handmade and it's perfect even with its mistakes. So we will embrace that. I will say though, I'm not entirely like a vest kind of person, so I'm not sure how much wear I'm going to get out of it, but I am going to make a conscious effort to integrate this into my wardrobe because I think it does look really nice. It's just not something that I would typically go for, but I'm going to expand my horizons and try my best to integrate it. I also, when I was doing the neck ribbing, okay, so this was my first time doing like a V-neck ribbing also, so I've never done like that center decrease, and I finished the whole thing, and then I realized when I tried it on that my center stitch was off by 1. You couldn't not notice that. Also because of the diamond little section in the center, like it was just so obvious that it was off. So I had to rip it out and I started it over, and I did get it right the second time, thank goodness, but that was kind of funny. And it was also really nice just having to do ribbing on the armholes and not having to do full sleeves. So I do wish that I was more of a vest person because I would love to make more of them because of that. They're super quick projects since you don't have to do a full textured sleeve, although it has kind of inspired me to make a full cabled textured sweater. So I don't know. I really did enjoy the process. Like, it was especially cool to see all the cables work up because I'd never done that before, and it definitely has inspired me to make more, but I do hesitate a little bit because I know that's going to take a really long time, so we'll muster up the courage eventually, but that is something that's in the back of my mind. I also want to mention that my Lana vest is my submission for 2 knit-alongs actually. I originally had started it for the Fall for Vests knit-along with Knit Cheek and Love of Fibers, and then I saw something on YouTube, but somebody mentioned that the Botanical Knitter is also hosting a vest make-along right now called the October Vest make-along, so I am submitting this for that too. Okay, so let's talk about my whips. This is where I get a little crazy. Since I have 2 finished objects and I finished them like pretty close together, I was really inspired to just like cast some stuff on. So we'll get into it. But let's start with my Olga jacket by Petite Knit. It's gonna be kind of hard to show you because I just have one shoulder cast on and I just started doing the increases for it, and the stockinette rolls up a lot, so, but I will try to show you. Here's the back. These colors are so beautiful. I was a little bit worried because the purple is so dark, but I think it looks really great. It really adds to the contrast of that. So let's talk about it. So I am knitting the size medium, and I'm knitting the body on 4.5mm needles. I'm knitting this in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in the color Plume, which is the purple, and Wool Socks, which is like the rusty red color. Okay, so here's the deal. I knew that my gauge was a little bit off, especially my row gauge. On 4.5, I'm able to hit the stitch gauge, but I wasn't sure how much the row gauge was going to affect the pattern. So I figured I'll just measure it once I finish the back trapezoid. And just like I figured, it was a lot bigger than it should have been. So I cast on the size medium, but when I finished the short rows to make the back trapezoid, which is one of my favorite features of the pattern, I will say, it measured to be in extra large. I'm honestly kind of okay with that because I do feel like, especially on the Olga sweater patterns, that the armhole depth could be a little bit bigger. I do find it to be slightly tight. So I think that's just going to add to the nice oversized look of it, and I'm just gonna roll with it. So I have to kind of alter my measurements from here. I'm going to knit the shoulders to a size extra large so that the lengths match, and then from there I'm kind of just gonna do my thing. I'm probably not going to knit it to the recommended length in the body anyways, just because I like it cropped. I will pick up the sleeves as an extra large and probably just increase the amount of decreases that I'm doing so that I don't have like a giant sleeve. But yeah, we'll see when I get there. I'm just gonna roll with it and see what happens. I will say I am a little bit concerned about the amount of yarn that I have. So I have 4 skeins of each color. I think it's gonna be fine with sleeves, but with a vest in mind, I would kind of be okay with making it kind of like a vest and just doing ribbing on the sleeves. I like that in theory, but we'll see when I actually get there. I do have intentions of making it with sleeves, but I'm okay with making that alteration if I need to. I'm also unsure of how much this yarn is going to grow, so that could also make it fine in terms of sleeve length if it's going to grow a lot. I also really enjoy working with the yarn. It's a worsted spun, so it's really springy and it's not a texture that I've ever worked with before, but I will say it is pretty rustic and there is no way that I could wear this next to skin. So I am glad with my decision of making a cardigan, or I guess this is considered a jacket, but either way, I think it will be fine with a layer underneath, and I'm really excited for this finished object because I think the colors are so beautiful and it is so me. It's also made me realize that I need more cardigans in my wardrobe, so we'll consider that for the future as well. Okay, so let's talk about my next work in progress, the aforementioned Weekender 2.0. There isn't much to show you, although there kind of is because I just cast this on like 2 days ago. Well, a day and a half ago, I guess. So I have made some decent progress if you look at it that way. But I just have the ribbing done and then maybe 5 or 6 rows of the body. There's the split hem. And okay, so again, I'm knitting this in Barocco Remix. Shocker. And I'm knitting this one in the color Strawberry. I'm pretty much just going to copy my green version because it fits me so perfectly and I just really want another one. So I'm knitting the size 3 and I'm gonna do the armhole depth the size 4 and I'm so excited about it. One thing I would love to mention to you, I'm really excited to announce that I have a coupon code with KnitPicks and I also have an affiliate link with KnitPicks as well. So if you are interested in getting Barocco Remix, I will link it below. If you use that link, it just gives me a little bit of kickback based off of your purchase at no extra cost to you. So if you want to help support me, that is a great way to do it. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited about that. So I will always leave that linked below, and I also have that in my bio on Instagram at handmadebygib. So feel free to use that link if you're interested. Okay, so here's where my whips kind of get a little funny. I'll first start with the project that is intended for me. I'm knitting the Jaunty by Andrea Mowry, which is one of her new patterns that she just released. It is a scarf kind of shawl pattern that you can knit in any gauge and any amount of yarn, and it's just a beautiful half fisherman's rib scarf. It's so squishy and beautiful, and I am kind of wanting to dabble into newer stitch patterns, so I've never done this before, and I thought this would be a great way, a not so scary way, to practice this stitch, because I would love like a ribbed garment. I don't know if I wanted in either like brioche or half fisherman's rib, but I do have that in the back of my mind as well. But let me show you it. She's tiny, but so pretty. Just a tiny little bit. It's beautiful. It is so squishy. I am so excited. I'm basically making this to kind of fill a gap in my wardrobe because I don't have like any full-size scarves, just like the little mini ones. Now that there's a bit of a chill in the air, I'm like, I need a fluffy scarf. So I am knitting this in Louisa Harding Tula Tweed in the color 101 Monroe, and I'm knitting it on 5.5 millimeter needles. So I got this yarn when I went to my local yarn store to pick up some more remix, and I had no intentions of buying additional yarn outside of that sweater project, but they had 2 balls of this yarn in their sale bin, and after looking at the contents of the yarn, I was like, this is literally perfect for me. So it's a mix of 49% wool, 26% recycled cotton, 13% nylon, 8% acrylic, and 4% viscose. And it's like a chainette style yarn. I was like, yes, perfect. It feels really soft, and I really have to consider that if it's going to be next to skin, especially on my neck, I think it's going to be great. And it's just such a beautiful yarn. Like, it has a subtle shift from gray to oatmeal, and it has these really beautiful flecks of tweed in it as well. And since it's a bulkier yarn, I feel like this scarf is going to knit up pretty quickly. I'm just really excited to see exactly how far 2 balls of yarn is going to get me. So I just plan to continue increasing until I finish my first ball, and then I'll decrease with my second ball. So that should make a nice big fluffy squishy scarf. And so this kind of leads me into my next work in progress, which is the same pattern. I have intentions of gifting this next project. So mother, if you're watching, please skip over this section unless you want to know what you might be getting for Christmas. So here's the story. I first cast on a jaunty in Knitting for Olive Merino in Dusty Artichoke and their soft silk mohair in Dusty Artichoke. I first had the intentions of making this for myself because I just have 1 ball of each, and I thought it would be a cute little mini scarf. After working it up a little bit, first of all, I realized there's no way I can wear mohair next to skin, especially on my neck. And 2, I misread the repeats, so I was missing 2 rows per repeat, basically. So the repeat is listed on row 1 and 2, and then it says repeat so many times more. I completely misread that, and so it was increasing a lot quicker than it should have been. So I just decided to frog that, and I was like, okay, I have 4 balls of Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Wheat and 4 balls of their soft silk mohair in the color Trench Coat, and that is a perfect color for my mother. She's very much a neutral girly. I was like, okay, I am just going to frog my Dusty Artichoke one. I'm going to cast on a new one in Wheat and Trench Coat, and this is going to be like a background project that I can work on as a Christmas gift for my mom, because I'm not going home for Christmas and I probably won't see her until the end of January. So I have until then to get this done. So I just wanted to have that cast on, and then I can pick it up and work on it whenever I want. I'm curious to see how far 1 ball of merino is going to get me, and I'm unsure if I'm going to use all 4 of the balls that I have. I kind of want to make this more of a shawl for her because she does run pretty cold, and I thought it would be nice to just have like something she could wrap around herself when she's sitting at her desk for work. So I want it to be like almost blanket like. I'm also knitting it on 3.5 millimeter needles, so it's kind of like a slow burn, but it is really beautiful. I don't think I even showed you. Let me show you. It's so pretty, okay? So she's not big, but I've done like almost, I don't know how many, maybe 7 repeats on this, and it's like only this big, but gosh, is it so beautiful. This pattern, this stitch is gorge. So that's the right side, and then the wrong side still kind of looks similar, but it is a little bit different. So it looks nice both ways. It has a nice I-cord detail, which I really love. So that's going to be a background project, but I am really excited to see that get worked up because that stitch is beautiful. Okay, so that is all of my whips, and let's talk about my future plans. I am definitely focused on finishing my sweaters, but I am very excited to tell you that I plan to have a second go, well, really it's like a 6th go at making socks. I got a comment on one of my videos that led me to the Shadow Wrap heel, and since it's basically just like short rows, I think I'm gonna like it, so we're gonna give it a shot. So I purchased Quince & Co. Starling, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% recycled polyamide. I got 2 skeins of this. It's 200 meters per 50 grams, and I got the color Eggplant and Malbec, and these are so me colors. The purple is so perfect. I want a sweater in that color so bad right now. But anyways, so it's a fingering weight yarn, and with this yarn I'm just gonna give socks another go. I think the most motivating part to me is how beautiful the colors are. Since it's only 50 grams in each skein, I'm unsure if I want to do like a striped sock or if I want to do alternating colors and then alternating contrast colors. I think that could be really fun, specifically on the cuff and the heel. So we'll see when I get to that. I just really want handmade socks. I really do. I hate the process so far. I'm hoping that this will change my mind, but I love the idea of having a drawer full of handmade socks. So we'll see how this goes. Wish me luck. Okay, so that wraps up this video. It's kind of short and sweet. I feel like I had like a lot to update on, but then also not a lot to update on. If you want to see what I'm working on in between videos, little behind the scenes situation, follow me on Instagram at handmadebygib. I'm also on Ravelry at emo granola girl. If you want to be friends, that would be great. I also just want to mention one more time my KnitPicks affiliate link and my KnitPicks code, which will get you 15% off of your order. So if you use AKP handmadebygib at checkout, that will get you 15% off. And if you purchase through my affiliate link, I will get a little bit of kickback from that. And I so appreciate your support if you decide to do that. And also consider subscribing if you want to keep up with any of my future videos. I would really appreciate that as well. As we stand right now, I am so close to 2,000 subscribers. So thank you so much if you are coming along with me on this knitting journey of mine. I'm so happy to have you. And I am so excited to meet all of the new people that decide to come along as well. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.